Chloe here. I'm here today to start a new reading vlog. It is May 6th. I always get that wrong. I always say it's March. It's May. Sorry, the days have started to roll together. We are in our, they think, our 7th week in quarantine. But I just decided I'm finished 2 reads. I'm gonna pick up a new read, and because it is middle grade May on the TBR and Beyond reading group, it's middle grade mayhem. They're doing like a reading challenge, and I really wanted to participate, and I did decide to participate. And I'm part of the Foxy Assassins group, so they have like a bunch of different prompts, and I'm going to try to basically read them all this month. So the first book I decided to pick up was Seekers of the Wild Realm by Alexandra Ott. This book was scheduled to come out in June. I think it got pushed a little bit. It's going to come out in July. I have had so much success reading books from Aladdin, which is the Simon and Schuster imprint for middle grade. I read Keeper of the Lost Cities, which I'm loving. I read Casper Talk in the Everdark Wings, and I'm really hopeful that this book will have similar results. I literally just started reading it. I'm about 5 pages in, and I know it's about this little girl named Bryn. She really, really wants to be a seeker. That is like what she wants, and seekers are people that basically hunt dragons or like work with dragons. But in this society, only boys can be seekers, and she's very, very upset about that, and I think she winds up getting still caught up in that world accidentally. And it just sounds super cute. I love this cover. I think I got this one at ALA, I think. But yeah, so I'm gonna dive in and make a little bit of progress. Today's Wednesday. Tomorrow's gonna be Thursday. Normally I start my reading vlogs at the beginning of the week, but I finished reading 2 adult fantasies and it took me a little bit longer. But I'm going to dive into reading Seekers. I also do want to finish that Star Wars documentary. So I'm gonna read probably for like another hour, 2 hours, and then I'm probably gonna dive back into my documentary. But that's the plan right now, and when I make a little bit more progress and when I know a little bit more about Seekers, I'll definitely update you. Right now, I've only read about 4 pages, but I'm gonna read a little bit more, and when I know how I feel about it, I'll update you guys. Bye! Sorry, here, I'm back. It's Izzy30. I did wind up reading about 50 pages in Seekers of the Wild Realm by Alexandra Ott. And I do want to watch one more reading vlog by Haley in Bookland. I'm actually really liking her content as background noise. But I did read about 50 pages, and it's exactly what I kind of expected. Basically follows this young girl named Bryn, and she's determined to be enroll as a seeker. Her dad used to be a seeker, and a seeker is someone that kind of can go up to the mystical realm and kind of help the creatures like dragons and like a couple of other different types of creatures. But so the village elder is retiring, so they have a spot for a new seeker. But in the past, seekers have only been boys. And right now, she's not even able to like try out. And there's other extenuating circumstances why, other than that, she's really talented and she has strong powers. She has earth magic or power like earth magic as well. But there's other reasons why she wants to be a seeker to help out her family. But right now we're in a moment where they won't even let her try out. And I think that's really interesting dynamics for kids to read about. It kind of, you can always equate it back to like the civil rights movement. But I am really liking it. I'm loving how they're talking about all these different creatures. I love the relationship she has with her mother and her father. There's a best friend element. I like the different elements of magic we're being talked about. There's an empath in this book, and I really do like empaths normally. So I'm going to dive in and try to get up to page 100 before I go to bed, but at the end of the day, I'm probably just going to stop reading it when I'm done with Haley and Bookland's video. So when I am done with Haley and Bookland's video, I'm probably going to put down my book for the night, but I'll come in and check in and let you guys know my thoughts. I'm also listening to a middle grade audiobook, which is Ice Wolves by Amy Kaufman. No, she's not like in a partnership for this one. This is a reread for me. I reread this book a couple of years ago because I got an arc at it, but I do want to like keep reading the series. So this has been the audiobook that I'm listening to, and I'm got to the part where I remember, like I know there's a school element involved in it. So I'm really liking that, and I'm hopeful to make a little bit more progress on that tomorrow, while I'm working. So I'm gonna go read, and when I stop reading for the night, I'll come in and check in with you guys. Bye. Lori here. It is exactly 9 o'clock, and I did wind up reading up to page 71 in Seekers of the Wild Realm. I did actually read. I was hoping to get to page 100, but you know what? That's okay. I still am really liking this book. It definitely has massive Fablehaven and Dragon Watch vibes from Brandon Mull. That I love that series. I actually need to add one of those books to my TBR because I'm a little bit farther behind that series than I would like. But I'm loving the dynamics between the characters. I'm loving how we're learning more about not only their magic system, which I think is very easy to understand, but also all the various creatures. It also is reminding me a little bit of the relationship that Sophie has in Keeper of the Lost Cities with her Alicorn. But I'm really enjoying it. I love books about magical creatures, and especially in all that we're dealing with, like in our lives right now, just going into a fantasy world that is so focused on fantasy elements like magical creatures and magical powers is something that I've been craving a lot of. So I'm gonna catch up with you guys tomorrow before I go to work and let you know if I wound up making any reading progress. I'm gonna try in the morning, but we will see. But I will talk to you guys later, and I'll let you guys know what I thought about the Star Wars documentary when I'm done with it. Bye, guys. Hi guys, Lori here. I'm back. It is about 5:10 on Thursday, May 7th. I actually had a pretty eventful day. This morning I wound up listening to a lot of Harry Potter as I was working. I wound up listening to like 2 chapters of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, and I'm almost caught up on my podcast, which is good. Um, the kids, hi 807, that I teach one of my classes, their number is like 807. They wound up finding out about my YouTube channel, so I'm trying to figure out a way to like, hi by the way, hi students, if you're actually watching this video. I'm trying to figure out a way to like involve them in this because they seem really interested. Maybe to have them choose my TBR or something, but I'd have to get a move on that because I'm only going to see them for another month, specifically that class. So I might try to figure out something about that like this week. So I'll try to figure out something and maybe I'll include them a little bit. I think they'd like that. They're honestly bored at home. And they're my seniors. But I did wind up finally paying off my house in Animal Crossing, which if you play Animal Crossing, you know what I'm talking about. And I wound up getting enough materials together to build my shop. So tomorrow will be a very exciting day. I'm excited for that. I am excited for that. I also did go on a bike ride. I wound up listening to the new Mandy Moore album, which I'm really liking. I don't really listen to music normally, but it's just like a good workout playlist. And then I wound up reading for a little bit outside because it's a gorgeous day out. It's so pretty today. Like, this is the weather that I like love. But I wound up reading a little bit more of Seekers of the Wild Realm. I'm now on page 126. What's her name? Bryn and her new friend have gotten themselves into a little bit of trouble with their baby dragon. And I love baby dragons. Like, that's like one of my favorite character types ever. And I'm liking that we're going into a new environment. I'm liking their relationship. And I think it's super fun. So I'm gonna go finish my podcast I'm listening to and do a quick workout. Because I think tomorrow's gonna be kind of like a crummy day weather-wise, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go for a bike ride. I'm gonna do that, and then I'm going to come back and hopefully make some progress on Seekers. I would love to make a lot of progress on this. This is a very, very fast-paced read, and I do want to get a few books done for the book reading challenge I'm doing for the TBR and Beyond reading group. So I'm going to go work out, and when I come back from my workout, take my shower, I'll come back and check in with you guys about Seekers. Okay, bye. Here, I'm back. I did wind up getting up to page 160 in Seekers of the Wild Realm. I definitely am liking the dynamics between the characters. I'm loving the fantasy world building. I'm loving how we did get to... We went to a different location, and I liked how that world was written. I liked how we're learning more about the creatures in this world and like through Bryn and the other character. I like how the magic system is developing. I like that there's a little bit of a mystery that's being developed. I do love the dynamics between the characters. I think that they're super fun. According to Goodreads, I'm 40% done. I think my pages are like a little bit off. I think this book is like a lot longer than what it says on Goodreads, so I might actually try to change it so it's more in line of the page wise. But I'm gonna go get a quick snack, and then I'm gonna come back and keep reading, and I'll let you guys know if my page progress has changed. But right now it says that I'm 40% done. So let's see if that changes when I adjust. Talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Hey, it's Lori here. I'm back. It's about 7:45, and I did wind up reading up to page 183 in Seekers of the Wild Realm. This book, definitely, I'm loving it. I'm loving the characters. I'm loving the world building. This book definitely has massive Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire vibes, like, because they're competing to get, like, a job as a seeker, and there's, like, 4 challenges that slowly whittle down the competition, and Bryn and Ari are competing, and they're kind of helping each other, but then there's also, like, other elements. There's, like, a baby dragon that's involved, and there's a lot of, political stuff happening. So I'm really curious to see how this book develops, and I would love to, like, at least get to page 200 before I stop reading for the evening. Also, I forgot to mention earlier in this video, they decided to do Book Expo and Book Con online this year, which I am thrilled about. I really loved the Y'all All Stay Home one. I actually did wind up winning a few books from that, so I'm excited to see what they wind up doing, because I hope to be a little bit more able to participate in that a little bit more than I did on the Penguin one, which I did nothing. So, but I really hope I'll get to participate a little bit more. But I'm still thoroughly enjoying this book. It's definitely a quick read. So I'm going to keep reading, and when I get up to page like 200, I'll probably check in and let you guys know my thoughts. But right now, really, really fun. Definitely a fast-paced read. Definitely a book that I would love to just read sitting outside. Hopefully I can do that tomorrow, but I'm going to go read and go back to Bryn and Ari. Bye, guys. It's Lori here. It is 9 o'clock. I did actually wind up reading a little bit less than I had planned, but I had to call a friend, and we had to talk over some BookCon and Book Expo little stories that we wanted to chat through. But I did wind up getting up to page 224 in Seekers of the Wild Realm. This book definitely has taken a very interesting turn, and I'm really curious to see where the book goes. I'm definitely going to make it my goal to at least get up to page 300 tomorrow. Friday is normally my less chaotic day at my job because I just have fewer things to grade normally. I do definitely want to make some progress on Ice Wolves now that I've read a bunch of other, like, I've listened to all my other stuff, so I'm going to make that my priority tomorrow. And I do want to make some progress on Seekers. I would love to actually read the Storing work tomorrow as well, but we will see. So I'm going to go watch a couple of my shorter YouTube videos, and then I'm finally going to finish the Star Wars documentary that I started like 3 days ago. So that's my plan of attack. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye. It's Lori here. I'm back. It is the weekend, which I'm really excited about. I love the weekends. It's a little bit different now because, like, my weekends and my weeks kind of are very, very similar. The only thing that really changes is that I don't work. But I am going to hopefully read a bunch this weekend and catch up on the books that I want to read this month. I do really want to focus this weekend on reading middle grade books. Sorry, I look a little bit tired. I've been staring at a computer screen all day, and it sometimes gets to my eyes. But I have 2 days off, which is nice. So yeah, I'm going to probably get some dinner, and then I'm probably going to dive back into Seekers of the Wild Realm. Right now I'm on page like 267. I did read a little bit during work, and I listened to a bunch of Ice Wolves by Amy Kaufman, which is the audiobook that I'm in the middle of. I've definitely made a bit more progress on this. The conspiracy is definitely getting a little bit more pronounced. And it definitely has massive Goblet of Fire vibes because there is like a competition element. And then there's also kind of like a mystery, I'll say. So I'm really curious like where the mystery is going to go and what the other elements of the competition are going to be. It definitely does deal a lot with like sexism, I think. It talks a lot about like boys and girls in their respective roles and like what is expected in the society and what's not expected. So you're kind of dealing a lot with that with Bryn, but then you're also dealing with like unexpected friendships. But the highlight is the creatures that Alexandra is writing about. Like, they're so fun. It really does remind me massively of the Keeper of the Lost City series because they also delve a lot into creatures, and I'm just really, really liking it. So I'm hopefully to make a little bit more progress on this tonight. I did also start watching Phantom Menace yesterday, but I do want to like catch up on all my YouTube videos so I can kind of dive back into watching some TV shows this weekend. But yeah, so that's kind of my plan. I'm going to read a little bit, and I'll update you guys when I get up to page like 250. Maybe like page 300 in this. That's my next goal, and I'll talk to you guys then. Bye. Lori here. I'm back. I did wind up reading up to page 300 in Seekers of the Wild Realm by Alexandra Ott. I am really liking this book, so we're about to enter the second competition to prove that she can be a seeker. And I'm really curious to see how this story is going to end. I'm curious to see what is the framework of this book, like if we're going to see all the competitions or if it's going to be subsequent in like another book. That's a little bit unclear. But I am really liking it. I think it's a very, very sweet middle grade. Definitely not like my favorite middle grade series I've read, but I definitely will keep reading. But it's not like A Keeper of the Lost Cities where I had to keep reading. Well, also it's the first book in the series that's out. But I do like the world. I do like the characters. I think it is really developing or talking about some interesting issues like sexism and prejudices. I think that that's something that I think all kids should read about, and I think it's offset with like cute creatures and just a fun competition story that I'm really, really liking. So I'm gonna go read. I have about 100. I have about 100 pages left, which I think is definitely doable to read tonight. Be honest, I'm a little bit tired. That's the thing that sometimes sucks about online learning. Like, I'm a theater teacher, so I normally like teach in front of people, and like we're always up and at 'em, and we're always kind of like doing stuff, and it's just like a different. It's just a different way to teach, and I'm just not used to it. Also, there's like just like a lot of like my college that I loved is having a lot of financial issues, so that's kind of in the back of my head. But otherwise, things are going good. I'm gonna hopefully try to finish this, and then I'm gonna figure out what I want to read this weekend. I do want to film some videos as well this weekend. But yeah, so that's my plan. I'm gonna come back when I have about 50 pages left and let you guys know my thoughts on the structure, and I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. Hey guys, Lori here. I'm back. It's exactly 7 o'clock. I did end up doing the reading sprint with Corey from Outlook, which actually I really like doing because it's like it makes me feel like I'm a part of a community when I'm reading, and I really, really enjoy doing that. I did wind up reading about 50 more pages of Secrets of the Wild Realm by Alexandra Ott. This book has definitely hit the climax. According to Goodreads, I think I'm like 90% done, but I think I actually have like 20 pages or 10 pages left because my arc is a little bit shorter than the pages on Goodreads. Still really enjoying it. Really curious to see how this book ends. It definitely went in a direction I was kind of expecting. I was happy one twist didn't happen, which I kind of predicted, so I'm happy I was wrong about that twist. But yeah, I'm really excited to see how the story ends. I think it was such like a sweet book, and it was like a very, very interesting magic system that developed that I think was super easy to follow. I really, really liked the characters, and I thought that it was a very, very fun story. I wish the friendship with some of the characters were like a little bit more fleshed out. And I'm really hopeful this becomes a series because I thought that was super sweet. I'm definitely going to have to check out her other book. But I'm going to go finish Seekers, and then I'm going to check in and give you guys my full thoughts and then kind of talk through my reading plans for the weekend. But I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. It's Lori here. I'm back. It's about 8 o'clock. It's like 7:45. And I did wind up finishing Secrets of the Wild Realm by Alexandra Ott. I wound up really enjoying this book. I wound up giving this book like 3.5, 4 stars for a review. This book does come out in July. I thought that it was a really, really fun read. I thought it was a perfect mix between Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire and the Fablehaven series because there are elements of both. There's a magical competition, but then there's also elements of this book that really focus on the creatures, which I found really interesting. I thought the magic system was super interesting and really, really easy to follow. I think sometimes in middle grade series, the magic system either is very simplistic or very complicated, and I think this book had a really, really fun way of crafting it. I also thought that this book tackled like expected roles of boys and girls in really effective ways and really dealt with sexism, which I thought was a really interesting topic. And I always say this in middle grade books. I love middle grade books where the parents are actively involved because I think it's more realistic. But I did like the dynamics between the kids and the parents. I like the development of friendships. I'm really excited to read book 2. I hope we get a book 2. But this one was like such a fun read. So then the 2 books I'm going to focus on this weekend, because I'm still doing the middle grade challenge from TBR and Beyond. The book I'm actually going to pick up immediately is A Tale of Magic by Chris Colfer. I actually got this at BEA last year, and I love Chris Colfer's Land of Stories series. And I was so excited for this one, and then I just got a little bit distracted. I normally love listening to his books because I love him as a narrator, but I'm going to try physically reading this one and see how I feel. But I don't know. I'm gonna try physically reading it and see my thoughts, but I do love him as a narrator. The only thing I know is this book has to do with like a magical school. That's all I know. So yeah, I'm a little bit excited to dive into this. And then the next book I'm gonna try to read this weekend, I don't know if it's gonna happen, is Ghost Squad by Claribel A. Ortega. This is the book that's like one of the featured reads in that read, and it's also like less than 300 pages, which is also one of the other prompts. So I am going to start reading this and see how I like it. I'm also still reading Ice Wolves, which is my audiobook. So yeah, I'm going to start reading this tonight. I have to watch a couple of YouTube videos, as always. But yeah, that's my plan of attack. And I will check in when I get like a little bit in. I literally know nothing about this book other than it has to do with a magic school. So I'm going to go start reading, and I'll update you guys when I have my thoughts about it. At least a few of my thoughts. Bye, guys. Right here, I'm back. Sorry for the bed lighting. I'm just being a little bit lazy and getting up, and I don't want to. But I did want to making a little bit of reading progress on Tale of Magic by Chris Colfer. I am 26 pages in. I did actually read the back of it, and I actually did read like the author's note from Chris. And this is actually technically it's supposed to be a prequel series to the Land of Stories series, and we do see like you are told like in that little note that you will see characters from the Land of Stories series. Like we see like two of the fairies that were in that series. I just have to admit I love his writing, and this book was published, I think it came out in 2019, so you could definitely tell that this is written in the political world we're living in. But basically the way that this story starts is that magic is outlawed in all of the four kingdoms, which is North, the Western Kingdom, the Southern Kingdom, the Eastern Kingdom, and the Northern Kingdom. Like magic is outlawed everywhere. And their determination is to basically have a school for these magical creatures to go so that they're not persecuted and they're not killed. And basically they have to convince the king, one of the kings, to make sure that that does happen. So I guess this school is about it is about a magic school, but I'm literally just met the lead character. Her name is Bristol. I also think reading is outlawed in this community. I think the back said that. But I have to admit, I've said this before, I adore Chris Colfer's writing style. I think it's so engaging and so captivating, and I just love it. I especially love when he reads me the stories, but I am really, really, really fond of this book. Like, I'm only like 24 pages in, but I thoroughly like he's very, very engaging. I like that it's a prequel series because I think it definitely sets up the world and allows you to even expand it a little bit more. I'm curious if we'll see like any more characters. I know that book 2 is definitely coming out in the fall, so I'm happy that I finally did pick it up. I'm just loving his writing style. Like I'm only 24 pages in, but I think I'll update you guys again when I get a little bit farther in. But I just wanted to come in and say that if you were hesitating, this is technically a prequel series, but I would probably read Land of Stories first because that's a series that captured my heart with Alex and Connor. But I'm gonna go back to reading and reread probably a little bit more today. I'm just, I don't know, like unexpectedly tired again. It was like a rough week for me work wise, just because I was looking at my computer a lot and grading a lot. But you know what? That's okay. That happens. But I do definitely want to make some progress on this. I'm gonna go back and reading, and I have to watch like 3 YouTube videos, and then I'm probably gonna watch episode 1 of Legacies. That's my goal. So I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye, guys. Here, I'm back. I just actually did a bunch of stuff this morning. I actually listened to like an hour and a half of Ice Wolves by Amy Kaufman, which is the middle grade book that I'm listening to right now. Really thoroughly enjoying that. I have about 2 hours left. It is a reread for me, but I'm really liking being back in that world. It's been a while since I read it, but thoroughly liking it. I also did take my yoga class. I also did the dreaded task of switching out my my spring to summer wardrobe for the summer because I'm not going back to work until at least September, so I figured I would get rid of all my long sleeve shirts I normally wear to work and just like got my my shorts out, which I can't wear today because it's freezing, but hopefully in the next couple of weeks it does warm up. We normally start getting more warm out of the like end of May, beginning of June, hopefully, so hope that's on track. I did actually finish watching Phantom Menace last night, which is a movie I haven't seen in God, I cannot tell you the last time I watched that movie, but I forgot how much I liked it. I remember I really liked movie 1. I enjoyed movie 2. I didn't like movie 3, but I want to watch Clone Wars, the TV show, and I'm told that I have to rewatch those 2 movies. So, yeah, I did that. I went for a bike ride. It was very, very windy here, so my bike route got cut a little bit short, but I am going to dive back into reading Tale of Magic by Chris Colfer. I'm on page 52. I'm going to catch up on my CW shows today, but I do want to kind of dive into this a little bit more, so I'm going to put on a true crime video as background noise, and then I'll check in and let you guys know what my thoughts. I hope to make a lot of progress on this book. I'm really enjoying it. I love Chris Colfer's writing style, and the sequel does come out in October, so I would like to be caught up to date. I normally listen to these books, but this one I just got an arc at BEA last year, so figured I would check it out. So I'm gonna keep reading, and when I finish my true crime video, I will check in with you guys. Bye. About 204, and I did get up to page about 100 in A Tale of Magic by Chris Colfer. I am really curious to see the identity of Bristol Evergreen, because she took a last name that like is very prevalent in the Land of Story series. So I'm really curious to like if it's gonna go the direction I think it's gonna go. I think that would be so cool. But it definitely took a very interesting turn. Basically reading is outlawed in this society by girls, so that's kind of what she's doing, and I'm really curious like where the book's gonna go. It's basically she's in like a very precarious situation. She's awaiting trial for a crime that she's committed. But I'm really liking it. It's a very fast-paced story. This story also had a lot of like, let me see if I can find one, like book articles that like they don't want anyone knowing about, which I think is really interesting. But I really have a very strong theory like who Bristol is in regards to the story, so I'll be curious to see if I'm right. I know that a school does become prevalent in the story at some point, so I'm just gonna keep reading. I'm also gonna go watch my CW shows, which I'm fell a little bit farther behind on than I would like. So I'm gonna do that, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Right here. It is about 5:30. I did wind up watching an episode of Katie Keene, which I was a little bit farther behind on, and it snowed. This is wild. It always snows like on very odd days. Today was the day that I put away my entire summer wardrobe, winter wardrobe, and then it snowed. But I did make a little bit more reading progress on Tale of Magic. I'm on page 188, which is about 50% done. I really am liking this book a lot. I would say, it's definitely like a prequel series to the Land of Story series, and I think that two characters that we have met, because now we have a trio of characters that are going to go to this school. Two of them I think I know from the previous series. That's not a big shock. But I'm really liking it. I'm loving the way that this world is crafted. I think it's just so great. I just love Chris Colfer's writing, and I normally love trio of characters. I think that it always like fleshes out the world a little bit. Like they had it in Seekers a little bit. They're having it here. I just tend to like books that have a trio. Like Harry, Ron, Hermione are probably one of my favorite trios ever. But I'm going to keep reading. I will update you guys when I get up to page like 250 and let you guys know my thoughts. But it is definitely a fast-paced read. I'm going to go watch one more episode of Katie Keene, and then I'll check in with you guys. Bye. Here, I'm just checking back, and I did watch another episode of Katie Keene with Lucy Howe, which I'm really enjoying. And I did read about page 226 in A Tale of Magic by Chris Colfer. Really liking this book. I have spotted another character that I think I know. And the only reason saying I think I know is because it's been a while since I read that series, so like I don't remember their first names for the most part. But I'm really liking this. I love how this book is also another element of found family, which is something that I've been saying a lot in middle grade, that I like found family as like a trope. I love the magic school. I think it's great. I think it's so well crafted, and I just think it's perfect. It has elements of like the Magnus Chase series, like the house that they had, the way station. It kind of reminds me a little bit of this, but I'm really liking it. I'm really curious like where this story is going. Like I know like eventually the way this world is set up is very different from Land of Stories, so but I'm really liking it, and I'm definitely going to read a little bit more tonight. I'm gonna go do a workout, and then I'm gonna come back and I will let you guys know. And I'm gonna probably listen a little bit more of Ice Wolves by Amy Kaufman. I have like about an hour and a half left, so I want to listen to a little bit more of that. But I'm gonna go do that, and I'll check back in with you guys. Bye. It's Lori here. It is 8:20, and I just wound up getting up to page 270 in Tale of Magic by Chris Colfer. I'm definitely intrigued by this book. I think it's very interesting. The world is super engaging. I'm really curious, like, what's the end game of this book? Because I feel like the end game of this book will make the connections between the Land of Story series and this series like a little bit more interesting, but I really love the characters. I think I'm really liking it. I love the trio of characters. I love the world building. I love the magic system. I'm really really liking it. Like Chris Colfer is such a good fantasy writer. Like he writes very very fascinating worlds, and I'm really excited to see how this series connects to his other ones. And if I might wind up doing a reread this summer because they tend to be pretty fast listens. But I'm gonna go read for a little bit more. I would love to get up to page 300 tonight before I go to bed, but it really depends on what's happening in this book. I might read later, we don't know. But I'll talk to you guys in a bit for another update. Bye. I'm back. This is a much later update than I normally do, but I actually did a bunch of stuff this morning. I had to prep a couple of blog posts. I had to do my Instagram. I went for yoga. I did a bike ride. I actually went to finish listening to Ice Wolves by Amy Kaufman, which is part of the Middle Grade Mayhem read. It was an audiobook that I was in the middle of listening to, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Definitely glad that I reread that book because I want to dive into Scorched Dragon soon. I just have to figure out how I'm going to read it or if I'm going to buy it. But that was a very, very interesting listen, and I really enjoyed it. So I really am going to sit down and I'm going to tackle Tale of Magic by Chris Colfer. I have about 100 pages left. I'm on page 360. Thoroughly liking this book, like, a lot. It definitely has motivated me to try to pick up the Land of Story series again because it's been a while since I read the early books in that series. This is definitely, like, a prequel series, one that I'm thoroughly enjoying. Last night, I also did finish watching Katie Keene, and I finished watching I think it's the last episode. I'm very, very unsure, but I think it's the last episode of Katie Keene and Nancy Drew, which is on the CW. Still really liking those shows, so I'm gonna try to finish The Flash and Batgirl today, and Supergirl. I don't know if I'm very, very unsure if like these seasons are completely done or if we're waiting for more episodes because it's a little bit unclear with all this COVID stuff, like if these seasons are ending the way they're supposed to. I know at this point Good Doctor is over. I know definitely This Is Us is over, and I think those two shows are over now, but I could be wrong. So I'm gonna dive into Tale of Magic. I'm probably gonna work out at some point today. I did go for a bike ride and did do a yoga class, but I also might pick up a new audiobook that I'm gonna listen to for the week. But my goal is to finish Tale of Magic. That's my first plan. I might throw on like a true crime video or something just because I would like to like tackle the majority of this like in one fell swoop. But I'm going to make that decision when I finish watching the true crime video that I am. When I finish watching that true crime video, whatever it is, I'll probably come and let you guys know how far I am or how much progress I've made. But that's my plan of attack. I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Just checking back in. It is almost 3 o'clock, and I did wind up reading to page 413 in A Tale of Magic by Chris Colfer. This book definitely had like a very unexpected side twist at the end, which I was not expecting. I'm still super curious the identity of all these characters. Like, I think I know who two are, but it's definitely an interesting story, and I'm really curious to see how this book leads to the Land of Story world that I love, because it's such a different world, and I'm gonna definitely finish this. I'm gonna go finish the last 20 pages and come in and give you guys my final thoughts. But yeah, that's my thoughts right now. Still really enjoying. Definitely a 5-star read for me. I'm thoroughly enjoying this book, and so glad that I finally picked it up. I'm back. It is 3:30, and I did want to finishing A Tale of Magic by Chris Colfer. I wound up really liking this book. I forgot how much I like his writing style. It's been a couple of years since I read his Land of Story series, but I love how he created a prequel series. I love that we're following characters that are near and dear to us, but we are like learning about them in like a different way. I'm really liking it. I definitely gave this book 5 stars. I've given all of Chris Colfer's books 5 stars. I'm really happy that I finally got around to reading it because that means I'll be right on track to listen to book 2 when it comes out in October. I just found this to be such a fun series. I would definitely recommend you read the Land of Story series first because I think this book will pack more of a punch, and I think as a younger reader, you may not know like who these characters are, but I think I have some predictions and some theories. I think 1 was made very apparent at the end, and 2 you kind of know because their names haven't changed, but I'm really liking it. Liking it a lot. This is definitely a 5-star read for me, one that I thoroughly enjoyed. I'm so happy that I wound up picking it up this weekend. So I definitely do want to move on from middle grade, but the book I want to read next is super short, and it's one that I picked up from BEA last year, and it's like a quick read. I think it's like not even 200 pages. And for the middle grade challenge I'm doing, I have to read a book that's less than 200 pages. So I figured this is fine. It's called Zeus the Mighty: A Quest for the Golden Fleece. This is from National Geographic Kids, and I actually have a few books from them. But I thought I would just read this in the evening after I do my workout. But yeah, when I come back, I'll give you guys a little bit of an update on this one. But I really hope to finish this book tonight, and then I'm gonna take like a middle grade break and read something else. But I want to focus on this for today, and I think I can definitely finish it. It's really not that long, and the words are very, very, very big. So I think it's definitely possible I can finish this tonight. So I'm gonna go do a workout, and when I come back, I'm gonna start reading Zeus the Mighty. Bye, guys. Here, I'm still watching The Flash, but I did wind up reading a little bit of Zeus the Mighty: The Quest for the Golden Fleece by Crispin Boyer. I'm on page 54. This book reads super fast, but basically the premise of this book is that there is a character and she owns a pet shop, and she names all of her like animals that she's going to adopt or like out for adoption after Greek gods. So this book is all from the animals' point of view, and they all think that they're Greek gods, and it's just so funny. It's definitely not like a book I would necessarily read on my own, but I think for like kids who read like or are not quite ready for the Percy Jackson series, or maybe you like read the Percy Jackson students book to your students and you want this as like something else you can read. It's definitely for like a younger age. It's for like ages 8 to 12. It says on the back. I think it might even be like a little bit younger, but it's really, really cute. I love the animal focus, and I think that like the first 50 pages really make it seem like this is like a mythology novel, and then you kind of get into it and it kind of dives a little bit more into like what's really going on. But I do love the presence of the gods. I like how they really stay true to their relationships. I think it's just super fun, and this is like kind of a book where like it's easy to like have the kids create this whole fantasy world and then peel back the curtain and say like, oh, this is what's really happening. And it does have illustrations. Mine is like an arc, so mine are not all there. But it's super fun. I think this is a great starter book for kids that maybe aren't ready for the Percy Jackson series yet. But I just think it's fun. There's another book coming out quite soon, so I think I'm probably gonna pick it up. I'll probably get it on my Kindle or something. But I am liking it enough to keep reading, so that's what I'm gonna do. Alright, I'll update you guys when I read about 100 more pages. Bye. It's about 6 o'clock. I did wind up reading 50 more pages of Zeus the Mighty: The Quest for the Golden Fleece. This book is just so fun. It's just a very, very charming read. I love how all the animals kind of take on not only the names of the characters, but also like their relationships. And I just think it's so fun. I honestly think the illustrations would even enhance this experience a lot more, because the illustrations would show the kids what's actually going on, which I think is so fun, for kids to see that their imaginations really can craft a whole world. I do love that the story is also very reminiscent of the god relationships, like who is friendly with who's not friendly with who. I love Zeus as a character. I think this little hamster is quite cute. And I'm just really curious to see how these shenanigans affect the real world. But it's just so fun, and you can kind of like tell, like, okay, well, this is like a vacuum and stuff like that. Like, this is what they're dealing with. But very, very charming, very, very fun. I'm gonna read it 50 more pages and then give you guys my more thoughts, and then hopefully be able to wrap this book up tonight. But it's very, very charming, very, very fun. Again, I would say if you're looking for a book to kind of like work with the Rick Riordan series, this I think is a little bit younger, a little bit more on the younger side. Maybe like before, maybe like around like, yeah, I would say like 8 years old is probably a good starting age for this book. But it's also something that parents can read together, and especially if you're doing like a Greek mythology unit with your students. But yeah, very, 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 very fun, very, very enjoyable, and very, very relatable. So I'm gonna go back to reading and watching The Flash, and I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Sorry, here I'm back. It's almost 7:30, and I did wind up reading 50 more pages of Zeus the Mighty. Still really, really fun. I'm liking how it's definitely taking a different turn, and they're kind of squashing a bunch of different elements and a bunch of different Greek myths together. I really do love the characters. I think that they're so sweet. It's just a really, really fun read. Definitely more for like, I would say a younger version of the 8 to 12, but I'm really, really liking it. I'll definitely wind up writing a review and hopefully eventually passing this on to my students, because I think that they'll get a kick out of it. They do read Percy Jackson in the 6th grade, so I might actually just give this to the English teacher that I work with, because I think that she would actually love putting this in her library. But I'm going to keep reading, and I'll check in with you guys when I'm done. I have about 50 pages left. Talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. I'm here to wrap up this reading vlog. I just finished Zeus, the Mighty, The Quest for the Golden Fleece. I thought this was so fun. I thought it was a very fun mythology based novel. I think it's definitely for the younger set. I think it's for someone that has just started the Percy Jackson series, maybe even a little bit earlier than the Percy Jackson series. I thought it was a very simplistic story, but still one that captured the funness of Greek mythology. I think that in a real novel, the illustrations will really help the kids picture what is really going on and then what is happening in their fantasy world. But I really, really enjoyed it, and we'll definitely try to get other novels in this series in the future. I started off this reading vlog reading 2 books that I did wind up finishing. So I did wind up finishing Seekers of the Wild Realm by Alexandra Ott. This book did get pushed. It is coming out in July, but this is like an adventure fantasy novel following this girl named Brant, and in her world, there is a role of a seeker that deals with the mystical creatures and goes to the realm. And she is determined that she is going to be a seeker. But in her society, girls, that's not a job that they have. So you basically follow her as she's adventuring. I wound up giving this book 4 stars. There was a nice mix between Dragon Watch and Harry Potter book 4 with the competition elements, and I will definitely be checking out book 2 in this series. This one did have elements of found family, but I was really, really impressed with it, and I love the world building and love the creatures. The audiobook that I finished listening to was Ice Wolves by Amy Kaufman. This is the first book in her Elemental series. I actually wound up picking this up as an audiobook, but I did wind up getting this signed from Amy Kaufman a couple of years ago when she was touring. Wound up really, really liking this reread, and I'm definitely going to have to check out Scorch Wolves. I'm going to try to get the audiobook, but I'm waiting for a credit to come up for Audible. So these are the 2 books that I was in the middle of that I started. And then the last 2 books I finished and began. That was Tale of Magic by Chris Colfer. This is the first book in his new prequel series to the Land of Story series. Guys, you saw me throughout this whole thing. I wound up really enjoying this, gave this book 5 stars, and I can't wait for book 2 when it comes out in October. And the last book I finished was Zeus. I'm doing this for a middle grade challenge, or the T Beyond and Beyond reading group, and there's like 10 different prompts. But I just wanted to wrap up this reading vlog. I'm going to start a new reading vlog that I'm going to take a small break from middle grade. I'll be back shortly, but I hope you guys like this reading vlog. Let me know what are your favorite middle grade novels that you really enjoy. I tend to collect them, but I don't read them a lot, and I'm trying to be a little bit better about reading my arc. So I'm going to go choose my next reads and start a new reading vlog, and I'll talk to you guys later. Be safe and be well, everyone. Bye.